operating system, connectivity layer, communication, dot layer, transport, context-aware design. Right? So, after this introduction, I'm going to talk about IoT. And for me, my opinion, there are like three concepts that are very, very similar. And it's like key concept. It's depend of the time. It's the trend is different. So now the keyword is IoT, but 10 years ago the key was AMI. Do you know something about this? What's this? You know, I know, but do you know what's that? Ambient intelligence. Okay. And after that, the new concept is IoT. And do you know similar concept? Maybe the difference between this concept, ambient intelligence, and IoT is this is focused more in the technical problem, and this is focused more in the application or the solution. It's almost the same. And the third one, you know, I know. Yeah, what's the third one?
Maybe WSN.
WSN is similar. I don't know if you know cyber physical system. So this is maybe in 2 years you will be in another place around Europe with the physical system workshop program. So brief definition: ambient intelligence is a distributed network of intelligent devices that provide us information, communication, and entertainment, right? Or this is, we have here like keywords, network, intelligent devices, and more IoTs and network, hidden intelligent interfaces, very important. They organize our present and our environment to our immediate needs. So just a video to show you my, not just my idea, but my idea of internet.
Accelerating over the past couple of decades, we've seen the emergence of a kind of global data field. The planet itself, natural systems, human systems, physical objects have always generated an enormous amount of data, but we didn't used to be able to hear it, to see it, to capture it. Now we can, because all of this stuff is now instrumented. And it's all interconnected, so we can actually have access to it. So, in effect, the planet has grown a central nervous system.
So there's about 1 billion people using the internet at the moment, and that's set to grow to probably 2 billion in the next couple of years. And we think that's quite a lot, but over the last 10 years I've been looking at devices being linked up together using networks, so little sensors on things, you know, these temperature sensors and traffic sensors and flow rate of water and how much electricity, all transmitting data. It won't be long, it may even have happened already that there's more things on the internet than there are people on the internet. That's really what we mean by the Internet of Things. And you get this sea of data that you just drown in, literally. And there's this triangle that's been quite well documented called the DIKW triangle. That's data, information, knowledge, and the tip at the top is wisdom. The D at the bottom is a sea of data, and when we get this data back home and start doing stuff with it, we apply intelligence to it and transform up that stack. So we go from data into information, information into knowledge, and then glean some wisdom from that. And that's really what the analytics part of our Smarter Planet story is all about. But the ideal day, I guess, would be that I wake up in the morning and my alarm clock went up at the right time because it had looked in my diary to know when my first meeting was and had backtracked which ferry I need to get and therefore what time I need to get up. The bathroom heater would have been on for half an hour before that time to make the bathroom nice and warm. I'd know that the temperature had been freezing overnight, and therefore that my ice was going to need to be scraped off my car, so I need to leave the house 5 minutes earlier. And then I'd be getting a notification, perhaps an audio announcement in my car as I drive to the ferry saying, well, the ferries are only 5 minutes late, so no need to rush, just take your time. All that stuff is being handled by autonomic systems of little agents looking out on my behalf for the things it knows I want to do, just making me aware of what's going on so that I can plan my day accordingly. So the system of systems is really what emerges when you start to link these things up. So the fact you've got isolated systems, for example, my house on its own, with its energy monitoring and the water monitoring and the detecting if the windows and doors are open, that kind of stuff. It's a system, certainly, but it's not a system of systems. But if you start to think about the power grid, first of all, the appliances negotiate with each other. So they say, okay, guys, Andy wants all 3 of us to operate, but it's going to be bad for the grid if we all go on at the same time. So now suddenly we've got systems talking to each other, sort of acting smarter because they know about each other, which overall makes the entire system more efficient.
There are more human beings living in cities now, as of last year, than ever before in human history, and that doesn't look like a trend that's reversing. Now, for every 4 text messages that a pedestrian sends while walking down the sidewalk she's on is sending an equivalent amount of data. There are sensors all over the place, certainly in the water main. They're registering blockages or not right beneath your feet. Taxis are, broadcasting their position and fare status back to dispatch. Trains and buses are updating their locations in real time, which people are reading on that street corner. A matrixing of services creates a more resilient thing, and we can let a water main blockage speak to the road signals above it and do something quickly before police can get there. Soon enough, we will just expect to be told exactly when the bus will arrive. Look at that complex set of relationships among all these complex systems. If we can actually begin to see the patterns in the data, then we have a much better chance of actually getting our arms around this. That's where societies become more efficient. That's when our innovation is sparked. When we talk about a smarter planet, you could say that it has 2 dimensions. One is to be more efficient, be less destructive, connect different aspects of life which do affect each other in more conscious and deliberate and intelligent ways. But the other is also to generate fundamentally new insights, new activity, new forms of social relations. So you could look at the planet as an information creation and transmission system. And the universe was hearing its information, but we weren't. But increasingly now we can. Early days, baby steps days, we can actually begin to hear the planet talking to us.
Okay. This is more or less the idea that you have about Internet of Things. Yeah, more or less. And what do you think? Do you think that these a lot of different devices connected to get an application? Do you think that this is a new concept?
Not really.
Not really. So
Because the idea to appear much more like earlier.
oh wait, how long? 2 years?
Let's say
4? 5?
30 years.
Smart houses.
Smart houses? Similar? It's a similar concept. Do you know who is the fucking master of the ambient intelligence?
The contest.
For you? For you?
Well, I think he introduced first ideas of connecting things like radios and so on. So he actually had an idea about wireless transfers. So I think
The fucking master. Yeah, harvest. So 1 minute of silence now. It's a researcher for computer science in Setups Lab. It's a Bell Lab, Baby Bell in Palo Alto. The first paper about this kind of thing, it's from So there we go. And in this paper, it's called the 21st Century Computer. The research group said things like this. People learn from the practice and possessing knowledge, so that the most powerful things are those that are invisible in you. And the approach is activate the work, provide hundreds of wireless computing devices per person, per office, all scale from 1 inch display to 1. We call our ubiquitous computing, this is invisible, everywhere computing, that's just like a personal device. And more things in this, the same paper, today. Make a computer so embedded, so pretty, so natural, that we use it without even thinking. So imagine like 30, 40 years ago, the idea. Okay? So that if you check the Harvard News paper, say this year, the year of internet. Maybe this is we are in the special challenge now. Right. So why this is important? You know the Horizon 2020 or 2020? No? You know what? 2020? You know that?
Yes.
Yes? Can you explain?
Not, I don't know if I'm wrong,
Yeah.
but
Feel free.
the purpose to reach some level of innovation and also to reduce the emission of CO2 or something.
More than that. It's like the European Union has a plan, an economic plan, a social plan, and a research and innovation plan. So the research and innovation plan for the next 7 years is called Horizon 2020. We are going to try to provide this to the society. So they are saying, if you want to research in something, you have to read what I need, because I'm going to pay you for that. It's very important. And if we want to know if Internet of Things is important for the European Union, we have a specific challenge. It's called Cyber Physical System, you know, in the same word. But in the same paragraph, you can see our word, the Internet of Things. Say, we want Cyber Physical System refer to the next generation of embedded information and communication technology systems that are interconnected and collaborating to flow the Internet of Things. So the European Union idea is invest in this kind of thing. So maybe in the next, I don't know, 2 or 3 years, you are going to work in something like this. You are a researcher in a lab or in a company. Probably this is one of the most important challenges in the next few years. There are a lot of research groups that are working in Internet of Things or ambient intelligence here in Spain or in the world. The bold one is, this is my group, and I was working in MIT Media Lab and in University of California, Berkeley, BWC 2. Yes, please.
Did the idea came from you or another private, for example, company?
Yeah, this depends. There are like a specific programs. There's a personal program of you, or private company, or research groups. It's a different kind of policies. So if we focus now in technology, we have like three main topics for technology in Internet of Things. One is ubiquitous computing, intelligent user interfaces, and ubiquitous communication. As a definition, ubiquitous computing is integration of processing everyday objects such as furniture, clothes, right? Do you think that this is very close of the actual situation or not? Do you think that we have microprocessor in toys or in furniture? Yes, of course. We have. And communication, the idea is always communication between the devices in a user transparent way. And for me, this is very important too, because we have to pay attention to the user interfaces. The idea is that users control the environment or interaction with the environment in a natural way, adapted to their capabilities and preference. This is very important. The concept of transparent is not there is no interfaces. No. The concept of transparent is the interfaces is adapted to you. For me, smartphone is a very good interface. For my grandma, smartphone is not a very good interface. But maybe for her, the remote is a good interface. So we have to adapt the user interfaces to the people. So, okay, Álvaro, this is very interesting, but where is electronic? Here. Where is?
Everywhere.
Thanks, man. Everywhere, of course, in all the information flow. I have to get information, communicate information, process the information, and use this information for a new application, a new scenario. So we have electronic sensor, user interfaces, pervasive computing, communications, context-aware system, ubiquitous computing, application. We have electronic in all the flow information. So it's very, very curious. If you check this report, like 13 years ago, say this is a European Union advisory group for information and communication technology, and they defined 4 different scenarios in 2010, 4 years ago. And these scenarios try to cover efficient application, sociable, humanistic application, a community, and individual product. We'll try 4. I'm going to introduce a little bit. Maria Roth Warrior, the businesswoman that has a PCOM that is a personal device that puts together the laptop, mobile phone, agenda, printer, and personality. So in this device you can monitorize the traffic. Because of your personal identification, the room in the hotel can adapt to your necessities. And this device has different communication for emergency, security, personal communication. This is one example. The other is Dimitros. This is a digital avatar. Why do you need a digital avatar? For example, for a conference, imagine that I have an avatar and he's here, and I'm in my office with a cup of coffee, relaxing, no problem, and my avatar is talking to you, blah, 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 Internet of Things, blah, blah, it's very interesting, yeah, it's not bad. Pre-processing my information, imagine like, oh, I want to talk to you, okay, please talk to my avatar, and later I'm going to use this information, or for emergency, you have to go there, I'm here, right? And of course, the avatar has, we're always like like me, my 2 hours, so ugly. So this is one scenario, and the other is Carmen, Spanish. Check the traffic before you leave home. Buy your ingredients for the dinner. Look for a parking. So in Madrid, oh, not bad. Maybe if there's a Turkish guy here. No Turkish? Yeah? Istanbul? Yes. Ankara. It's more the same. And the last one is Annette and Solomon. They prepare intelligent meetings or intelligent classes with social learning, and they manage the space. And it's better that you sit close to this guy because you are very close in your ideas, and they prepare your meeting and blah blah blah. So now I need your collaboration. This is how the advisory group imagine our society in 2010. And now, this is our reality. We have an avatar, we have Carmen, we have a Picom, we have Annette and Solomon for meetings. So, please, how's our reality? And the main question is why is our reality this way? And more important question, is the electronics a problem for this gap between the reality and the expected society? I need feedback.
Maybe the rising power supply.
Power supply is for you the problem. Yeah.
I think the fourth one is well modeled out now in the present, but like Avatar seems too futuristic for me. But like I think it's just not just electronics. Everything is problem there. Like you need to make a really intelligent system for that. Really on the high level of artificial intelligence. Also, if you want to make Avatar, you need to, electronics is problem, really problem there. So I think that's futuristic. And maybe the first one is on the way to be achieved, and the second one, the
First one is the Picom, the personal device.
yeah. So we have something like similar.
Yeah.
It's not completely like you don't have printer.
Is it less like, oh, printer is not, but it's like no for logistics. It's like more or less we have a smartphone which is with more power than my laptop maybe. It's a mobile phone agenda. It's not printed, but because I don't need it.
Yeah. Yeah.
Personal ID in some countries you can include in the. It's not futuristic, but the avatar. What happened? Why? Yeah.
Well, one of the things that with avatars problem is you need to use a computer to be able to access it.
Mhm.
However, you don't use a computer all the time. So with the advent of Google Glass or Oculus Rift, that's probably very soon, we'll be able to improve our situation and improve virtual reality, which Avatar actually is.
Mhm.
So I think our technology still isn't there yet, but we're getting there. We'll probably get there in the next 5 to 10 years.
So you think the problem is just the technology for this kind of application?
Not only technology, it's also, it's not considered normal, it's considered geeky.
Yeah.
So society is also a problem. But that's with most new things, changes, but probably it's still the case.
More opinions.
I think I don't know if you included this in further slide. But I think what I'm thinking about is going to the physical layer. And I remember that in Poland, where I come from, there is a big splash on graphene.
Sure.
Outstanding material. It's discovered now. So it solves a lot of problems, starting from speed of working of every device, and power supply, energy efficiency, and so on.
Okay, interesting. More opinion. Please, wake up. What about this scenario? Yeah. So, more or less, in 4 or 5 opinions, you think that we have a technical problem because of low power, graphene, or computer integration, or I don't know. I don't know, but I'll try to make a review of all the electronic stuff in Internet of Things. Maybe in the next hour we are going to ask again for the same question. So first, sensors. Do you think that all the sensors enough for our necessity, for the application that I want to build? No?
Actually, yes. But is that you always change your need? It was enough 10 years ago when I didn't have a smartphone. It's enough now, but it's not going to be enough in 2 years.
I suppose. So, it's a definition. I am teacher, la definition. But we have a lot of kind of sensor like temperature sensor, photometer, optical radiation, color. We have integrated circuits for temperature. You have one temperature sensor and humidity in like half an inch. We have brightness sensor. We have pressure, mechanical and atmospheric pressure too. We have pH sensor, humidity sensor, passive infrared sensor, like the kill application in the Spanish bathroom. If you check it, that is like you have to move when you are peeing. It's exciting. So GPS, you can say like sensor of different kinds of accelerometer, precision accelerometer, or called MEMS accelerometer that is included in your smartphone. It's like a MEMS accelerometer is like this with small metal ones, right? Or other kind of sensor like fingerprint sensor, RFID sensor, or we have like hundreds of different kinds of sensors, and there are people working in try to different kind of gases like CO or CO2 or something like that.
I think you forgot to include maybe two most important but really simple sensors, camera and microphone.
Yeah, I know, but this is in my opinion, the sensor is the Z mode. It's not the camera, because the camera you have to acquire the data, you have to process the data, you have to represent the data.
No, but you also have to process all the data from other sensors.
Yeah.
Like some just get full, but you have to figure it out how to process it.
Completely. So, in my opinion, sensors are not a problem for our team. So, let's check in another topic. The other topic, so what time did I start to talk? The other topic is pervasive computing. What's pervasive computing? The idea is to remove the frontiers, the barriers in personal interaction, the elimination of the concept of computer, or have a big box with all my information, The key factor is that we don't have to need change our habits, and the environment is the interface. This is the magic words, wearables. Right? Wearables is a small devices that always are working and accessible. It's very useful for a personal profile. If you put a wearable, a T-shirt or a Google Glass or whatever you want, it's very easy to make your profile for the user interaction. And it's very interesting for application when you are using your health. That if you check the wearable computing, maybe this is wearable. It's a little bit uncomfortable, but it's okay. So, and do you know this guy, Steve Mans? Yes, this is a MIT research that started with the Google Glass, like in the 80s, and continue, and continue, and continue, you know, with less hair, but, and yeah, the life. Do you know how it's now, Steve? Imagine the glasses. Very similar to the famous Google Glass. He was working like 30 years, Google 2 years, but will have more money. This is the fact. So we have a lot of accessories like the Google Glass or bracelets, clothes, bands. We have a lot of things. We have very different kind of textile wearables or check your sports for your health or for professional sportmen are very common, the textile wearables. And do you know Patty Mice? No? No, man? God. Wow. So we are going to finish the first part of the talk with a video of Patty Mice. You know TED Talks? Yes. I suppose. But the best, the most viewed TED Talk is this Patty Mice. Is a MIT professor, and she has a project. It's called Team Sense, and in my opinion, it's the best in user interfaces. If you want to work in user interface during your life, contact to Patty Mice, and this is very funny. Yeah, so let me show you the more view TikTok, right? It's like 10 minutes and continue.
I've been intrigued by this question of whether we could evolve or develop a sixth sense, a sense that would give us seamless access and easy access to meta information or information that may exist somewhere that may be relevant to help us make the right decision about whatever it is that we're coming across. And some of you may argue, well, don't today's cell phones do that already? But I would say no. When you meet someone here at TED, and this is the top networking place, of course, of the year, you don't shake somebody's hand and then say, can you hold on for a moment while I take out my phone and Google you? Or when you go to the supermarket and you're standing there in that huge aisle of different types of toilet papers, You don't take out your cell phone and open a browser and go to a website to try to decide which of these different toilet papers is the most ecologically responsible purchase to make. So we don't really have easy access to all this relevant information that can just help us make optimal decisions about what to do next and what actions to take. And so my research group at the Media Lab has been developing a series of inventions to give us access to this information in a sort of easy way without requiring that the user changes any
electronics. That's Microsoft.
Of their behavior. And I'm here to unveil our latest effort and most successful effort so far, which is still very much a work in process. I'm actually wearing the device right now, and we've sort of cobbled it together with components that are off the shelf, and that, by the way, only cost $350 at this point in time. I'm wearing a camera, just a simple webcam, a portable battery-powered projection system with a little mirror. These components communicate to my cell phone in my pocket, which acts as the communication and computation device. And in the video here, we see my student Pranav Mistry, who's really the genius who's been implementing and designing this whole system. And we see how this system lets him walk up to any surface and start using his hands to interact with the information that is projected in front of him. The system tracks the 4 significant fingers. In this case, he's wearing simple marker caps, and you may recognize. Paris version, you could also paint your nails in different colors. And the camera basically tracks these 4 fingers and recognizes any gestures that he's making. So he can just go to, for example, a map of Long Beach, zoom in and out, etc. The system also recognizes iconic gestures, such as the take a picture gesture, and then takes a picture of whatever is in front of you. And when he then walks back to the Media Lab, he can just go up to any wall and project all the pictures that he's taken, sort through them and organize them and resize them, etc. Again, using all natural gestures. So some of you most likely were here 2 years ago and saw the demo by Jeff Hahn, or some of you may think, well, doesn't this look like the Microsoft Surface table? And yes, you also interact using natural gestures, both hands, etc. But the difference here is that you can use any surface. You can walk up to any surface, including your hand, if nothing else is available, and interact with this projected data. The device is completely portable and can be So one important difference is that it's totally mobile. Another even more important difference is that in mass production, this would not cost more tomorrow than today's cell phones, and would actually not sort of be a bigger package and could look a lot more stylish than this version that I'm wearing around my neck. But other than letting some of you live out your fantasy of looking as cool as Tom Cruise in Minority Report, the reason why we're really excited about this device is that it really can act as one of these sixth sense devices that gives you relevant information about whatever is in front of you. So we see Pranav here going into the supermarket, and he's shopping for some paper towels. And as he picks up a product, the system can recognize the product that he's picking up using either image recognition or marker technology, and give him the green light or an orange light. He can ask for additional information. So this particular choice here is a particularly good choice given his personal criteria. Some of you may want the toilet paper with the most bleach in it rather than the most ecologically responsible choice. If he picks up a book in the bookstore, he can get the Amazon rating, gets projected right on the cover of the book. This is Juan's book, our previous speaker, which gets a great rating, by the way, at Amazon. And so Pranav turns the page of the book and can then see additional information about the book, reader comments, maybe sort of information by his favorite critic, etc. If he turns to a particular page, he finds an annotation by maybe an expert of a friend of ours that gives him a little bit of additional information about whatever is on that particular page. Reading the newspaper, it never has to be outdated. You can get video annotations of the events that you're reading about. You can get the latest sports scores, etc. This is a more controversial one. As you interact with someone at TED, maybe, you can see a word cloud of the tags, the words that are associated with that person in their blog and personal web pages. In this case, the student is interested in cameras, etc. On your way to the airport, if you pick up your boarding pass, it can tell you that your flight is delayed, that the gate has changed, etc. And if you need to know what the current time is, it's as simple as drawing a watch on your arm. So that's where we're at so far in developing this sixth sense that would give us seamless access to all this relevant information about the things that we may come across. My student, Pranav, who's really, like I said, the genius behind this. He does deserve a lot of applause because I don't think he slept much in the last 3 months, actually, and his girlfriend is probably not very happy about him either. But it's not perfect yet. It's very much a work in progress, and who knows, maybe in another 10 years we'll be here with the ultimate sixth sense brain implant. Thank you.
So, before the coffee break, just a reflection. Maybe now you, yeah.
Yeah, but it happens in 2009.
Yeah. So?
So they are
It is disappointing.
What?
No, it's 5 years.
5 years ago, yeah, and?
I reached this product.
And
you paid and what?
yeah. Why? The device was working perfectly. I know it.
Yeah, but they were speaking about something like brain implants or something like that.
Yeah.
But it's not something like kind of, if you, for example, you have implants,
Yeah.
that means that people can control you and wherever.
Yeah, it's just a little bit
so that's why it's controversial. It's like, for example, you, for example, with mobiles, when you wear a mobile, you have an account or something like that.
Yeah.
People don't also need like an account, but people from the big brake companies, they control everything on you. Also, if you have Facebook or something similar. So imagine if you have a brake implant, don't pay just.
It's quite invasive.
Yeah, it's like invasion and just forget about your. I mean, you're not something private.
Private life and of course, guys. So this is because of the title of the talk. The problem are electronics, user interface, or the problem is that you're scared of your privacy.
It's really useful, but in fact, it's kind of controversial about the privacy.
Yeah.
Because it's kind of monitoring the people. Just if you want to go somewhere, you know not everything about this time. It's like, for example, people when they make selfies or
selfies or whatever. Yeah. So you have to check. The problem is technician problem or is a social problem?
It's more social.
I think
It's
more
more
social.
social problem than
I think more social.
Yeah.
I'd say it's not social because it's actually, you look weird if you want to take a picture like this.
Yeah.
So I think that we, for example, if we have eye tracking,
Uh-huh.
and then, for example, if I take a book, it can just, if I don't need to take the book, it just sees I'm looking at that book, and then it projects me the information.
Uh-huh.
Also, the information in this, using this device is publicly available, everybody can see it.
Mhm.
So that's another problem, because what if there are 5 people, for example,
Yeah.
doing the same thing?
Uh-huh.
Suddenly, you cannot see what you want to see because it's mixed with our information. For example, there are 5 people and
Yeah.
we meet a new person.
Uh-huh.
Everybody of us has the information projection that we
Yeah.
have. So I think that device is good if you're the only one using it.
Mhm.
But if there are multiple people using the same device, it kind of gets weird.
I think that actually Google Glasses are the same thing.
Yeah, it's the same concept. It's similar.
Yeah, you have camera, you have a display, but it's not displaying with the projector, it's displaying in a small prism in front of you. And I think, yeah, it's actually not, it's really accepted the social, like, there are just a limited number of explorers, but people are really enthusiastic about it. Even though it costs like, I think, $1,500, but they're still buying it, and also unofficially you can buy it for, I think, $3,000 from Amazon, so like, and people are really...
So the difference between this device and the Google Glass is user interaction.
Yes.
For the presentation is more similar, but the user interaction is like,
Because Google Glasses was...
yeah.
I think it's much easier to implement augmentality in Google Glass
Mhm.
because, as you said, it's not blocking anyone else. No,
Yeah.
it's only your.
Yeah, it's like a private.
Yeah, but right now I think people don't really care about the privacy, or maybe they think just, for example, if they just, for example, have Facebook account, they just notice that just people in general they use that, and they say, okay, it's like famous or something like that, and they just use it, and then they don't really care about right now about privacy. They just say, okay, all of the people use it. It's like famous and common, and just they use that. It's the same for WhatsApp, and also that's why
Yeah.
we buy WhatsApp. Privacy.
Yes,
No more privacy.
But in this case, it's not a matter of privacy. Okay, everyone are sharing information in Facebook because we are. You can control it, and everyone are typing everything in forums because you can be anonymous. But in this case, you cannot. You are walking, and everything about you is written, or not everything, but some things. And I think that's the biggest obstacle.
Maybe not now, but can you imagine like 10 years ago that someone everywhere can know where are you, your friends, your activities? No. What? Can know that 10 years ago, maybe 10 years ago, if you can see when they watch picture like this, it's not natural gesture. Can you see now babies? It's incredible.
Yes, that's why, for example, the Bruno said it's not natural to take pictures like this.
Not now.
Not now, but I think that obstacle can be overcome very easy. I mean, it can be, if someone in Academy Award Oscar do it, we will continue on doing it.
Maybe because now a guy
Yes.
like this is stupid. So maybe the idea is to say,
Actually, when for sure you know 20, but maybe not the people knows about 20.
yeah.
It was very similar to Facebook, and it was related just in Spain. It was a lot of people who just make selfies, and it was completely, when they just make this kind of photo of themselves, they say, come on, you're kidding me, it's something like stupid. But right now, I think when we just pass some time, when you have a concept of this kind of photos, just make some famous. That's why right now when we just got this kind of pictures about ourselves, and we just decide to call selfie. It was completely, right now it's completely famous. Imagine right now in Facebook, it's selfie of me, hashtag, selfie. But it depends, I think it depends on each moment, and we just put one
specific name on something, we just transform this in something like famous. Everything is not about just selfie, I mean about something relaxing, cup of cafe con leche or something like that. It depends on how we just manage about
the trend.
It's kind of social power, something like that. But we just we just put one name or just for something. We just transform this in something special or just
or cool.
Or good. We are nice or something.
Yeah.
This is really so. I think the point is the social power more than anything.
So thank you guys for this interesting discussion. Coffee break, 10 minutes. Okay. Continue with the talks.
No, pero de hecho es eso, realmente los temas sociales son los temas que son que dirán. Es que no solo exactamente, es que, por ejemplo, lo que ya he dicho, antiguamente cuando veías que la gente tenía la típica foto exactamente, y ahora dice, ¡hostia, qué guapo, nene!
De hecho, o sea, lo que quería más sin decir como mi amigo, me parece a lo mejor programas
es que no es tecnológico realmente.
No pensamos que la tecnología va por detrás.
Al revés, va mucho por delante, pero es como que queramos transmitir la tecnología. O sea, es como nosotros lo manejamos. Por eso digo que es más bien tema social, más que tecnológicamente realmente, o sea, no es que digamos que estamos muy avanzados, pero estamos pero exactamente. Exactamente, pero lo que pasa es eso, que lo utilizamos realmente para, no solo tonterías, sino que a nivel social puede ser algo muy humano. Por ejemplo, en Turquía, cuando el tema de, creo que fue porque no se lo tenía, se lo escaparon hace poco, yo no sé si lo han mostrado o algo así, en China. O sea, básicamente,
sigue patrocinando.
Pero ahora te patrocinador. Y básicamente eso, o sea, es que depende muchísimo de
lo social y también político. Si llegas a China, te bajan esto, la tecnología puede ser la uno.
Ya, lo que es eso, o sea, realmente, o podemos, es como eso, lo que yo digo igualmente, o sea, el sistema de comunicación también, pero es como directamente lo manejamos, y el problema es como tú, puedes poner la información como quieras, te pueden manipular como le da. Y eso sí que dices, por ejemplo, cuando he dicho la tía de ponerte un chip implantado en el cerebro, me niego. Pero me niego, profundamente me niego. Esa básicamente se puede decir o no se puede. Sí, perros. Pero sí que eso, si directamente lo que tenemos los perros y los veterinarios tienen eso, tienen un chip básicamente de identificación que pueden ponerle igualmente un GPS, un rastreador y directamente se lo miran. Es súper sencillo, pero es que básicamente eso, te está aplicando exactamente, es algo que te controla completamente un control.
¿Y qué pasa si alguien te controla realmente y te dice, voy a hackear?
No, realmente, no, el problema, Dios, eso es una putada. O sea, eso es como, no, a ver, realmente nos controlan, ¿no? O sea, indirectamente nos controlan, pero ahora mismo con los móviles, ahora mismo.
Ya, pero tú, todavía, yo creo que tú te sientes con la libertad de decir, si yo quito toda mi electrónica de mi vida, pero voy a mi pueblo ahí en la ladera de Castilla-La Mancha, nadie sabe nada. Pero claro, si yo estoy partida, pues
ya, pero por eso mismo, ahora mismo lo podemos controlar a nivel del tema del móvil. Y saben que pueden por eso, porque no es algo que obligue a nadie a ponerse nada. O sea, realmente es como estamos engañados diciendo, es un móvil, sirve solo para llamar y hablar. Eso, es que así una polla. Es que básicamente se sabe dónde está eso en el móvil.
Lo haces todo, o sea, voy a poner el ejemplo de lo que hizo mi hermano. O sea, y dice, oye, sal ya que te vas a perder el partido. Sabe que me gusta el fútbol, sabe dónde vivo y sabe que yo trabajo ahí. Y que sal ya que te vas a perder el partido.
Es que eso, que ¿sabes el tema de la temporada? ¿Dónde fue? El tema de la olla express o algo así. que fue a una casa de uno porque buscó en Google olla y bolsa. Estaba explicando ahora mismo una chica italiana y se dio fue así de paso, o sea, directamente busca y de repente tiene a la FDI en 2 o 3 días y digo, ¿qué pasa aquí? No, ¿por qué? Tiene las típicas, a lo mejor, 2 o 3 palabras clave que le sale directamente como si fuera en rojo y te ha dicho esto. Y directamente vamos para allá.
¿Y para qué necesitaba esto? ¿Qué? ¿Para qué necesitaba esto? ¿Y 7?
No sé. Ahí te das cuenta de lo que hay.
Vamos a hacer una upgrade a Full HD.
Bueno.
¿Queréis que termine antes de las 12? Bueno, la actividad, a las 12 va bien. Otra aquí en el mismo sitio.
Sí, aquí también. Pero no sé si creo que es a las 12.
Les está gustando, ¿eh? Estoy hablando con ellos ahora y me dice, joder, qué interesante. Sí.